I don't particularly like shooting in a square format. And I'm not particularly good at shooting in a square format. Am I not good though because I don't like it, or do I not like it because I'm not good at it? Don't know. But here's a further complication. I do really like square format photography when other people do it, who are good at it. So I like the format, potentially. Just have never been able to get a handle on it. And here's my prediction. Knowing myself as I do, if I go out for an hour or so today, and I go out again for an hour or so tomorrow, whatever I get tomorrow is just going to be a lot better than anything I get today. It just takes me some time to get into a rhythm with stuff like this. And I figure, hey, if we're going square, let's also go black and white. Why? I don't know exactly. Just seemed like a fun idea, I guess. But doing this would only be fun to me if I could achieve the results entirely in camera. Otherwise, the urge to tinker would become too great, I fear. So my camera's already set to shoot both RAW and JPEG, so no need to change anything there. I'll set the aspect ratio or cropping to 1:1, and that will only affect the JPEG. So I'll be dealing exclusively with the JPEGs. So now I need to mosey on over to picture profile, is what it's called in my camera. No, actually it's not. It's called picture style. Where did I get picture profile? It comes with its own monochrome setting, but I'm going to use my own custom picture style that I developed a while back. I actually spent a lot of time working on it. I would go out with version 1, shoot, come back, see what I didn't like, tweak, go out again, so forth and so on. I developed both a black and white and a color picture style simultaneously. It's obviously only for Canon, but it's not only for the R5. I developed it on a different camera at the time, but it works just as well on the R5. If you want to try them, link will be under the video. So true enough, I'm not getting anything like super amazing, but I'm not struggling as much with the square format as I thought I might. Sure enough, when I'm framing up the shot, some shots do feel incomplete as a square, but then maybe I just shouldn't be taking them. Maybe I should be looking for other types of compositions. And that's what I've been doing. That's been working pretty well. Drone is like right in my shot. Also, I'm just having a good time shooting square, black and white. The novelty of it is getting me through this. It's not as painful as I expected. It's more just a good time. That helps tremendously. Anyway, I like throwing myself challenges like these to kind of keep in shape in terms of creativity, in terms of technique, adaptability. Wish I could cultivate a similar attitude about physical exercise so I don't drop dead in a week, but I find that impossible. I think I just don't care enough. Like, creative matters are far more important to me. That's probably not for the best, but it is true nonetheless. Oh, I caught somebody running in that one. That's cool. That was completely accidental. I was just talking about this the other day. I have occasionally a conversation with myself where I discuss the possibility of switching to shoot entirely in black and white going forward. It's extremely tempting to me. It was about this point when I realized I didn't know where the car was. I mean, I knew which direction the road was in, but I didn't know should I turn left or right when I get to the road. So I located the car with the drone and then just walked in that direction. Very useful. But actually, it turned out I wasn't very far from the car. Anyway, someday that's going to come in handy, I'm sure. This is the next day. So let's see if my prediction was correct. Nah, not really. It's okay. I really thought we'd see an increase in quality, like artistic merit, on day 2. Not so far. Oh well. I was going into day 2 thinking I need to do a little less of the landscape thing and a little bit more of the zeroing in on details. Maybe not quite macro photography, but Something along those lines. Isolate little subjects on the ground. And then I shot this, and I was like, nope, that's not the right call either. Maybe something in between. So, I just looked for a subject I could isolate. Ugh. I'm struggling more today than yesterday. That's weird. It didn't get better, it got worse. I mean, maybe if the sun would cooperate a little bit, if I could get some light going here, it's bad enough that I'm stuck shooting in the desert every day. But does it have to be so gloomy, so often? Will you not help me out, sun, please? I love how you can blow out the sky with black and white photography and it doesn't look bad. And I was having EOS R flashbacks, struggling to get the autofocus to focus on the drone here. But then I switched to a different focus mode and it grabbed it immediately, so that's cool. Well done, R5. Stupid shot though. I was obviously just lost at this point. Didn't know what to shoot. Maybe this gnarled up log will be interesting. That looks like I'm urinating. I wasn't though. That's not too bad. Kinda like that. Maybe we're onto something here. Maybe we can still turn this thing around. What is it about square, though? It just looks so incomplete. What's up with that? I mean, it's arbitrary, but it doesn't feel like it. It really feels like this is just wrong. It goes too far in one direction, or not far enough in the other. Seems the sun has decided finally to bless me with some holy photons. I took a horrible shot of the drone earlier, figured I might as well take a decent one. Can use it as cover art for my drone channel. I will say something about black and white. The solitude, the glorious, wonderful solitude I feel when I'm out shooting really cannot be communicated through color images. Black and white definitely captures the vibe, the feeling of what it was actually like to be there. Oh, I saw somebody on the mountain parasailing. I think that's just in the water. Hang gliding. Paragliding. I think that's what they were doing. I think hang gliders have more structure and paragliders are flappy. But I'm not sure. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's a cool shot. The branches and sticks add a frame, but the frame looks like flames a little bit. You know, I was talking about my EOS R a while ago. Bad-mouthing it a little bit. I regret that. I sold the 2 EOS Rs that I had to pay for this R5. I wish I'd kept one. I think of it like a modern classic now, and I really should have kept one. That being said, yeah, it did have some limitations. And autofocus was really good most of the time, but occasionally would just fail in the most spectacular of ways. But I am very happy with my R5. Am I tempted at all to go R5 Mark II? No. I'm sure it's lovely, but none of the issues I have with the R5 or that entire line of cameras have been addressed in the Mark II, at least not to my satisfaction. Here I am at some imaginary boundary, past which flying my drone becomes a punishable offense for some very good reason, I'm sure. A bit beyond the boundary, more toward the mountains, the terrain gets really interesting, and I am planning to hike out there very soon. Someday when I don't have my buddy following me around. If my mom were still around, I'd ask her for some tips. A lot of her early work was shot in a square format. I think that was just a common aspect ratio for film negatives at the time, and positives. A lot of her early work was done in a square format. This shot suits a square format. But to whatever degree the square format is throwing me, the black and white is energizing me, inspiring me. when I have that thought, like, hey, maybe I should shoot exclusively black and white, then I talk myself out of it. I'm wondering, why talk myself out of it? What's the downside? Maybe I'd really love it. I guess there's the fear of getting bored, or just that it would become monotonous. But then I could just stop and switch back. It's not like I can't change my mind. I don't have to get baptized into the church of black and white, thankfully. That's a cool shot. I am kind of improving with my square format abilities, I think. Maybe I put too much pressure on myself. You know, I was so sure I was going to do better on day 2 that of course I didn't. At least I didn't start out that way. I feel like now I'm getting better stuff. So much so that maybe I'll stick with the square format when this is over? Absolutely not. Black and white, yeah, maybe. I'm really considering it. I was too lazy to move the drone here. It ended up in the shot. But that's just the way things go with JPEG straight out of camera. Drone be there drone remain. And this is just an example of seeing something with my eye that I just can't capture. And it wasn't the fault of the square format. It certainly wasn't the fault of the color palette or the lack of color palette. It's just one of those images I've never been able to get right, and I don't exactly know why, but I keep trying, because one day I'll figure it out. So normally, the images coming out of my camera are 45 megapixels. In square format, they're 30 megapixels. That's not too bad. I mean, it doesn't matter in particular. I just can't help curiosity strikes. I do the math on stuff like that because I'm interested. That's a really cool shot. I like that. I'm losing the light, but that looked good. Overall, though, I do not believe I cracked the code on how to shoot in a square. Until now, I love that. I wish I'd shot more like that, just kind of abstract, where it's just less grounded in the reality of standing in this physical location. Yeah, kind of sucks to end on that note. Had a little bit of a spark of inspiration there. Maybe I should follow that up.